and welcome. My name is Katie Tremulous. I am the owner of Roadmap to Ron, which is a comprehensive course on how to build your business as a remote online notary. So feel free to go ahead and check out my YouTube. I have a ton of information and resources regarding that. But today what we're going to go over is how to become a remote online notary in the state of Florida. Step one is, if you haven't already become an in-person notary, you would have to become an in-person notary through the state of Florida. I have a video about that as well in a previous episode because there is a free way to get the training portion of becoming an in-person notary. So that's through the state, and I wanted to highlight that. So if you haven't checked that out and you aren't already a in-person notary, feel free to go ahead and check that out because it'll save you some money. But otherwise, step two, after you've already become a in-person, is to become a remote. So it is an additional step. So the first thing that you'll always want to do, and this is for any time that you are becoming a notary in any state, is to check out your Secretary of State's website, because it will go over every step that you actually have to do, because there's going to be companies that if you just Google how to become a remote online notary in the state of Florida, it'll come up with a bunch of different information. And so you want to just go right to the source. You don't want to have to buy anything extra. Sometimes they add on extra bells and whistles. So we are going to do the bare bones. And then if you wanted to go ahead and buy some extra stuff, you can. But I'm going to show you how to do it the cheapest way possible. Okay, so as you do this, you already have to be a existing notary. And then also you have to complete the online education training course and receive a certificate to be submitted with your registration. You have to submit all of your application into the state, and it gives you the guidelines of what to do. So step one is that you have to contract with an appropriate third-party vendor before applying. So what do they mean by this? They mean a notarization software that you have to use to be able to conduct the notarization. So you can't just do it, through, you can't just video FaceTime someone. You have to use an approved platform to be able to notarize these documents. There are checks and balances in place to make sure that everything is happening legally. So you want to make sure that you are checking that out. There is a approved vendor checklist, which I will link all of this information in the description box below, but otherwise it will be right here. So you'll be able to see all of the different service providers for remote online notarization. You can go through, there is a lot of different pages. And then also within my course, I go over the ones that I recommend. And also, if you wanted to, you can just reach out directly to me. My Instagram is Notary SWFL. I also have a pretty big community. It's called Remote Online Notary Community on Facebook. Feel free to go ahead and join for some extra resources. But otherwise, you want to make sure that you are using an approved platform when you are filling out, let me find it, this. So when you are filling out this document, you want to make sure that you are saying that you are using an approved platform. In general, most notaries that I work with have a couple different platforms that they work with, just because sometimes it's a little bit of a Goldilocks situation where it's not one size fits all with the software. So typically you want to see how one works. If you like it, then that's great. But sometimes you need to have a little bit of flexibility depending on the industry that you work with, depending on the volume, and then also depending on the requirements of who it is that you're working for. So if you're working for a vendor or if you're working with a client that has specific requirements, that does make a difference in the platform that you pick. So if this sounds confusing, you can just reach out to me. Or just reach out to another remote online notary to kind of get the lay of the land. But this is what you have to look for. Okay, so you'll have to pick a platform and then also read over the state statutes. The state statutes are very important because it allows you to know what you can and cannot do as a notary. But then also you have to complete the online notary information Online Notary Public Information Form. So that is this Online Notary Public Information, the required information. So you want to fill out all of that. You also have to fill out this application. So this is found, one, it's going to be in the description box below, but also it is found when you go up here and go to notary forms, and then you would just click the online application. And then as a side note, let me find it again. As a side note, the bond information, that's going to be filled out by whoever it is that you bond with. So it'll be a secondary merchant. Okay, this is your bond. So once you contact a third-party vendor to purchase your bond, they're going to fill this part out, and then you're just going to have to sign it right there. So you're going to have to fill out and put in this and this. Okay. And then the third thing is that you're going to have to do the training. And so the training is going to be through one of these approved vendors. Now, typically you can choose whichever one you want, but I would recommend this one, just because it's from the Florida Land and Title Association and it's $20. All right, so you take the course, obviously pass it and keep that certificate, and then put it in with the application. So the applicant confirms that the technology is going to satisfy the requirements. So you're going through an approved platform. You've submitted evidence of obtaining a bond of the amount of $25,000. And so typically the bond, you would either go through merchants or the National Notary Association. Those are both ways to get a bond for your notary commission, and make sure that you are letting them know that you are a remote online notary. Also, for errors and omissions insurance, you have to have a minimum of amount of $25,000. You can also go through the NNA for that, or through Byberg. So Byberg is another company that you can go through and just kind of price. Also, you have to submit a copy of a commission for a traditional notary public. So just like I said, you already have to be an in-person notary public. So typically you will get a certificate, and it looks like, oh, I put it away. Give me 1 second. Timed mine. It looks like this. And then, okay, what else? You're going to have to submit a $10 check payable to the Florida Department of State. And then also there's some other things that you will have to look over, make sure that any suspension, revocation, expiration, just look over the requirements, because there could be something that has happened that would deactivate your notary public information. So just make sure. Otherwise, you also have to submit evidence of completing the online course. So the certificate, fill that out. And then this actually needs to be notarized. So this part right here needs to be notarized. If you need a notary, you can reach out to me on my website. It's www.notaryswfl.com. And you can do this remotely with a notary that would be more than happy to help you. It would be either myself or someone within my team to be able to get this notarized for you. So otherwise, that is the information that you would have to go over and then submit into the Secretary of State. It'll have a mail to right here. And then if you wanted to do in-person or courier service, it shows you right here. So that is the general overview on how to become a Florida. If you are having trouble picking out a platform, or if you do want some additional help, just reach out to me directly. You can find my information either through my Instagram, you can find it through my web, or leave a comment on this and I'll be able to reach out and help you. Also, I will include the link to my Facebook, so that way you can join the community and start learning how to do this. As a side note, if you want to learn how to make this into a business rather than just something that is a side hustle or something for your work, I have an entire course that goes over how to build this into a business and how to scale it if that's something that you wanted to do, even if you do have a 9-to-5, or you wanted to go ahead and eventually build this over a period of time. So feel free to reach out, and thank you so much.